What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Kagurabachi video. You know what I learned, bro? I learned just not to promise things. All right. So I said during my Blue Log video, Kagurabachi would come Wednesday. It's Friday. I don't know what happened for me to end up here, but it happened. So just gonna move on, bro. Just gonna move on. So the last episode, freaking what's his face? Chiaki, the sister to Akamura, was talking about a what was it? Oh, they was talking about negotiations between the people of the Shikoku Island and the people from Japan, the mainland, right? So we're gonna get into it now, and yeah, see what's going on. So the way this chapter starts, basically, is just Chiaki or the narrator give us some extra information on the gift that the some female members of the Soga clan can read prophecies. Basically saying that it can predict the time and place of an event, but not the number of casualties, specific damages, or any other impacts. The prophecies allowed those in harm's way to evade death and to alter the outcome of the event. Then we have Chiaki telling the people at the meeting that the upcoming meeting will be extremely hostile, meaning that Shikoku is not messing with the people from the mainland. So yeah, so they set sail to Ishimura to talk on the beach, and then we get some more espionage story, some more dialogue here. In the 2 years since the appearance of Shikoku, the only interactions the people of Shikoku with the people of Shikoku were skirmishes on Ishimura. Even during those altercations, they attacked from afar and avoided direct engagement. Everything about them remained shrouded in mystery. And then we have a veteran that was on the island, or he was one of the first people to go to Ishimura, and then he confirms that they're actually Japanese people, which is interesting. Because remember, this island just popped up out of nowhere and had all this Danseki on it, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then we're getting the story of the Soga clan, right? Long, long ago, more than 1,000 years back, this land was ruled by a clan of sorcerers. They were known as the Mikoboshi. The Soga clan defeated them, but to this day, sorcery remains a strong underground influence in our society. According to the legend, the Mikoboshi were driven into present-day Chiba and wiped out. They were extremely powerful. They controlled something like insects. And what do you know? The people on Shikoku Island also controlled a kind of insects because the veteran is talking about the people on Ishimura or on Shikoku Island. There are various accounts of the Mikoboshi, but the most pervasive story is that the Mikoboshi have power to command insects. See, there you go. Just confirmed it right there. And then the main guy in the meeting with Subaru is talking to the scientist. So hypothetically, let's say the people of Shikoku are descended from the Mikoboshi. If so, then we're driven off the land into the ocean. They were driven off the land into the ocean. They lived for over a millennium, and developed their own civilization. That'd be impossible unless they were aided by a bizarre force beyond our understanding. A bizarre force beyond our understanding, aka the Danseki. So these people from Shikoku were members of the Mikaboshi clan, or descendants from the Mikaboshi clan. And well, hold on. Let me. All right, I'll get into that in a second because it talks about that later. But basically, now they're talking about the amount of Danseki on Shikoku Island, right? We estimate the vein on Ishimura or on Ishimura contains around 80 kilos. When we calculate the total weight of Shikoku based on the levels of radiation the Danseki emits, even according to the interference of the force field, there must be at least 1,000 kilos. Shikoku has 12 times the amount of Danseki found in Japan. Here's my theory. Mikaboshi's descendants are the inhabitants of Shikoku over the course of 1,000 years. They created their own civilization aided by the Danseki, a force beyond our understanding. Now, I have a theory, right? I have a theory. So remember, the people from this island were completely exterminated by Soga or Akamura, right? After he wielded the Shinichi, they were completely exterminated. My theory is that the Soga clan and the Mikaboshi clan have some kind of beef going on. They have some kind of like grievances about themselves. So that's why Soga went crazy and killed everyone on the island. And in turn, that caused the malediction that killed a lot more people because he just hated the Mikaboshi clan that much. So they pull up with a ship to the island of Ishimura with a little with a table and two chairs on the beach right beside a tree. And then the scientist gets a letter from Shikoku confirming that it is the Mikaboshi clan. And then he says, if we refuse to talk, the only path left is war. On behalf of the Sorcery Bureau, the best we can do is send the strongest defense detail we have. So, yeah, war is on the horizon, which it is the Seitei War arc. It's going to get to war eventually. But, yeah. And then and then we see that the ship that the Japanese people, or not the Japanese people, the people that were going to talk to the people of Shikoku on got destroyed. And we see these people, right? I'm assuming it's a bunch of guards from Ishimura Island, or not Ishimura, from Shikoku, alongside this old man with like this crazy looking thing behind it. I have no idea what that is. But it's stated, or it's not stated, but it's implied that they destroyed the boat, and then two of the people just end up dead. Two of the people just end up dead. There's one more guy left, and then there's another guy sitting in the chair, or sitting in one of the chairs. He looks kind of cool. He's kind of got these little markings across his eyes. He's got a little shoulder pad armor, got a little pop collar going on. Hair kind of looks like Higuruma's. You know, he kind of looks cool. He kind of looks cool. I can't even hate. And then the only other guy that's left alive sits down, and then we get some more dialogue from the narrator. Shikoku issued the following demands: Japan must hand over Ishimura. Japan must relinquish the Danseki extracted from Hiroshima. Moreover, Japan must cede Chobe, Kaganawa, and Tokyo areas that could yield Danseki veins in the coming millennia. Now, these guys, not these guys, but yeah, the people from Shikoku, or no, the people from Japan, sorry, uh, do not, or the guy from Japan does not agree with these stipulations because he doesn't agree with them. So then the guy slides a piece of paper across the table, and then we see a hand with a bracelet appear before him. My goat, my goat. So what we have here is more exposition. Four sorcerers were aboard the spirit. Uh, Four sorcerers were abroad with spirit energy. Uh, were aboard the spirit energy powered ship, the Homura, which was destroyed moments earlier. Hirato Soga, Togo Shiba, Yoshinojo Soga, and Shuji Mashiro. They were the smallest yet strongest squad selected by the Sorcery Bureau for this mission. And then we get a look at all of them. I'm assuming the guy on the farthest left is Hirato. He looks kind of sick. He's got long hair, falls down his face. He's got a little I'm assuming tattoo across like the top of his bicep up to his neck. You know what I'm saying? He's got bright eyes. He look kind of tough. We all know what Shiba looks like. And then got another guy, Yoshinojo Soga. Got crazy looking eyebrows, a crazy looking beard, long hair. You know what I'm saying? He looked kind of devilish. He kind of looked like the Kenpachi. Kind of looked like the Kenpachi archetype. I'm not gonna lie. And then we all know what Mashiro looks like. So there we go. There we go. So I'm assuming Hiruto Soga and Yoshinojo Soga are two members of the was it the Elite Guard? I think they called it. That protects Chiaki. And we have more dialogue. At 12:02, the talks dissolved due to the primitive strike by Shikoku. Thus, the battle on Ishimura begins. And then we get a double of Yoshinojo and Hiruto standing up before the guy and then opposite of the guy on the other side of the table, Shiba, Mashiro, and the other guy that showed up, or the guy that showed up initially, is just sitting there. So, yeah, this is interesting to say the least. I wonder how this is gonna go. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. See you on the next one. Goodbye, stay safe. I promise I won't take this long to drop again, bro. I promise.